Welcome and good evening. Welcome to this year's State of the City Address. As you can easily tell, this State of the City Address looks a little different. The COVID pandemic has affected almost every aspect of our lives, and the State of the City Address is no different. In prior years, we tried to make this an event with a capital E. We have met at various venues around the city, showcased some entertainment or local food, and brought some insight into other areas of our city by inviting a second speaker. This year, because of the pandemic, we're choosing the virtual route, which befits this year of Zoom, WebEx, and working from home. To say that COVID has dominated our actions this past year is an understatement. It has been a career-defining challenge for our staff, particularly our human resources and IT departments. Simply put, state law places several restrictions on our ability to allow employees to work from home and to flex their schedules. We don't have the flexibility that private enterprise enjoys. Nonetheless, our HR folks have worked tirelessly to provide us with employment practices that have kept our employees safe and complied with the law. Our information technology staff has been similarly challenged. Government is often thought of as a little behind the times when it comes to technology, but we've learned Zoom, WebEx, and electronic file transfer, and now share our screens with the best of them. The result is that as an employer, with about 425 full-time employees, we've often had 10 or fewer employees quarantined at any one time, and never more than 25. City services have barely skipped a beat. We've been able to fully staff our police and fire shifts, our daily sanitation routes, and so on. If this were a live event, I'd pause and ask for a round of applause for Arlette, Jackson, Lisa, Jamie, Dan, Brett, and Raylan, the unsung heroes of our HR and IT staffs. It's unfortunate that we can't be here together to do that for them live. You know, with or without COVID, 2020 was a busy year. We have much we could discuss. We've made major progress on several initiatives and have updates on several others. A quick list includes the following: the State Road 46 overpass, ASAP, the Alliance for Substance Abuse Progress, our riverfront, downtown housing and mixed-use development, a hotel conference center, new court services building, Fair Oaks Mall, Otter Creek, Curbit, and Recollect. Taylor Road, Weston Edge Drive, and California Street, improvements to those thoroughfares. Utilities, infrastructure improvements, the Invigorate Columbus Loan Program, our partnership with the Visitor Center to activate Downtown and Ethnic Expo, Bicentennial for Columbus and Bartholomew County, and that's just to name a few. Last fall, we held a ribbon cutting ceremony for the new State Road 46 overpass. I hope you've had multiple chances to drive it. It's an exciting pathway into and out of our downtown. You don't realize how flat Columbus is, or at least parts of it, until you see it from high up. More importantly, this has added immeasurable safety to our travel. We've eliminated the possibility of car and train collisions and improved overall traffic flow. That it took only 11 months from groundbreaking to ribbon cutting is astounding. And during construction, there were only two, I think, vehicle accidents and one personal injury incident. Just as important to me was the collaboration that brought us this project. I've said many times that our mantra is together. I like an old African proverb: if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. We melded together a partnership consisting of the state of Indiana, Bartholomew County, Cummins, the CSX and L&I railroads, and our city's redevelopment commission. To date, the roadway is complete and we are less than 1% over the original engineer's estimate. Our next phase will be landscaping, including the planting of several thousand trees, which will begin this spring. We should all celebrate this success. ASAP is another community initiative that involves collaboration. Substance abuse is an all too real scourge in our community. It damages the lives of addicts and those who love them. It adds a burden to our economy, our educational institutions, our healthcare providers, and our law enforcement. ASAP is a partnership among all of those, all pulling together to improve our community by helping those with substance use disorder. While 2020 has been challenging, the coronavirus has closed our hub several times, we've seen several transitional housing operations come online. ASAP initially identified multiple treatment pathways for those afflicted. Our hospital, our jail, and our court systems stepped forward to provide or identify programs that would help. But we all knew that without transitional housing, without a way to put those in recovery, without a way for those in recovery to put into practice the new habits they had learned, they would revert to their old environments, their old habits, and their old addiction. Today we have at least 5 transitional housing activities spread around town, with more on the way. They have blended well into our community and provide a testament every day that those in recovery are much like the rest of us. Our riverfront project continues to move forward, albeit slowly. You may recall that this ambitious project includes 6 components. It removes a dangerous, century-old failing dam. It provides erosion protection to both riverbanks. It includes an in-water feature designed to maintain the water levels upstream at Mill Race Park. On land, it completes our people trails through downtown. And in water, it provides a recreational opportunity unusual for this area. And finally, 6thly, it enhances the health of our river. We've received a conditional permit from the Indiana Department of Natural Resources and are now working to coordinate that permit with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers and the Indiana Department of Environmental Management. There'll be more to report, likely this summer. As we consider the value of projects like the riverfront and those others that we will discuss in a few minutes, we need to keep in mind some of what we've learned from the pandemic. Yes, the pandemic isn't over and it's still new to us, but we've already seen the effect it has had on how we humans gather. We don't group up like we used to. I'm certain that some of this change in gathering habits is temporary, but I'm also certain that some of it is permanent. For better or worse, we've learned how to conduct business virtually. For some of us, it will no longer be important to live in the community where your employer is located. Think about that for a second. No longer important to live in the community where your employer is located. We will no longer be able to rely on large employers to bring a steady stream of new people to town. Individuals will increasingly make their own choices about where they live, and they will make that choice based on the quality of life that they expect to enjoy. Successful communities will be those that are vibrant, interesting, and fun. We believe that the Riverfront Project is a step in that direction. It removes a dangerous scar that is eroding the riverbanks with an attraction for runners, walkers, bikers, and water enthusiasts. In late 2019, Columbus completed its most recent urban planning project. We called the project Envision Columbus, and it is the 3rd iteration of planning that we've undergone in the last 40 years or so. Please keep in mind that exceptional communities don't happen by accident. They happen because we plan for them. The Envision Columbus plan provided us with a view to the future of downtown Columbus and initiatives to get there. High on the list were a hotel conference center, an urban grocer, and additional downtown housing. With those initiatives in mind, our Riverfront Commission has been working diligently throughout 2020. I'm pleased to report that we recently purchased the property south of the jail at 555 First Street. We've begun to demolish the building on that site and will soon construct there a new building to replace the old Bartholomew County Court Services building. That building, at the corner of 3rd and Franklin Streets, currently houses the county's probation department. After probation moves to the new site, we will raise the old site and ready that block for the Hotel Conference Center. The demolition of 555 First Street has just begun. We've disconnected the electricity and removed some of the landscaping, and we'll start in earnest in about 2 weeks. The ground east of the jail, at the corner of 2nd and Lafayette Streets, is slated for a new mixed-use development. This will include about 200-unit apartment complex, and a grocer. We're in the final stages of completing a development agreement for this project, and we expect it will be signed by the end of March, to be followed by a year-long design process with construction to begin in early 2022. As I mentioned earlier, the Hotel Conference Center is a key component of our downtown strategy, and we're disappointed that we don't have more to report. The developers and the hotel brand they intend to partner with remain excited about the opportunity, and we remain convinced its day will come, but their lenders are waiting for the pandemic to subside. You will also recall that in 2019, the City of Columbus and Columbus Regional Health formed a partnership to purchase Fair Oaks Mall. Our plan, now as then, is to construct on the site an indoor athletic facility and reconfigure the mall to eventually replace Donner Center. Like elsewhere, COVID-19 has thrown us a curveball. Early in the pandemic, all local governments were warned that our tax revenues would be negatively impacted, some severely so. In particular, the local income tax revenues were expected to be reduced. Since local income tax was the source we were expecting to use to pay for these improvements, we adopted a wait-and-see attitude. Fortunately, the effect on our tax receipts has not been as significant as feared, and we plan to move forward with at least the indoor complex in 2021. Last year, we announced that we had plans to use technology to improve our sanitation process, that we were going to take garbage high-tech. In 2020, we implemented Curbit, an app for your phone that you can use to advise our sanitation department when you have an unusual item that warrants our assistance. Download the app to your phone, and with a few clicks or swipes, that couch or old computer can disappear from your curb. There may be a small fee for some electronic devices, but those who've used it tell me it's incredibly easy to use. This year, we will implement Recollect. As the name implies, it will remind you of your trash day and in particular of your recycling day. Candidly, I'm kind of used to watching the neighbors. When they set out their toters, so do I. But occasionally they mess up or a holiday interrupts the normal schedule. This app will help. And it can also provide guidance on snow removal, street closures, and such. Expect to see it this summer or fall. You may have heard that we're setting up for a year-long party. Hard to believe, but Columbus and Bartholomew County mark their 200th birthdays in 2021. What started in 1821 as an agricultural and transportation hub, the first railroads in Indiana came through Columbus, has grown into a community with a reputation for excellence in manufacturing, engineering, education, healthcare, architecture, and design. 200 years is a meaningful milestone. During this bicentennial year, we plan to pause and reflect on our history, celebrate our successes, and share our vision for the future. Our theme is Common Ground, a phrase chosen to reflect both the tangible area we've inhabited and the intangible ability we have exhibited by working together these past 200 years. We have put together a steering committee for this year-long celebration with 3 distinguished honorary chairpersons, Jim Henderson, Sherry Stark, and our First Lady, my wife Pam. And we even have a website, columbusarea200.com. Our legacy project that will help us remember our bicentennial is the 1821 Trail. That is the name we've given to a new section of our People Trail that will connect to our riverfront, run behind City Hall over to Lafayette Street, and hook up with the existing trail on the south side of the aforementioned mixed-use development. Folks, it's an exciting time with exciting opportunities. 2020 will always be remembered for the coronavirus. It's had a detrimental effect on our health and has slowed all of us. We sometimes lament that we seem to be walking through 2 feet of COVID mud. But this virus has shown us a side of Columbus that was always there but out of sight. You see, we have significant human capital in this city. Our first COVID-19 task force meeting was in February 2020, long before other locales were focused on the virus. Community leaders representing healthcare, education, industry, clergy, the social services, and local government came together to assess the challenge and partner together on our community's response. I hope you see a common theme here in my remarks today, and that's partnership, collaboration, and working together. All the focus on those themes down through the years, our emphasis on what some call the Columbus Way, has paid off during this pandemic. I simply cannot express adequately my heartfelt thanks to those our heartfelt thanks to our healthcare community, the leaders of our educational institutions, our industry, and our clergy. All have stepped forward, collaborated with one another, made difficult decisions, and kept the health and well-being of our residents uppermost in their plans. Has it paid off? Yes. In the state's color-coded county matrix, it seems as though we're a spot of orange in a sea of red. Nonetheless, we know we're not done. Although we have some exciting opportunities before us, we also know the pandemic isn't over. Vaccines have begun, but it will take several months before our community will be sufficiently inoculated. In the meantime, do us a favor. Wear your mask, follow the physical distance guidelines, and be smart about crowds. I know masking is not fun, but remember the old adage, this too shall pass. Be a good neighbor, extend grace to those who need your help, and be generous. with the local organizations that take care of others. You know, a year ago, during last year's State of the City address, I mentioned that it was a great time to be mayor. I didn't understand then the challenges 2020 would bring. But Columbus has a significant legacy and significant assets, and both leave me excited about our future. In fact, our community is building on those assets as we speak. I mentioned earlier several projects and programs at the start of this talk. There are others that are coming forward outside of city government. These include a new building at Ivy Tech, national recognition and funding for our Community Education Coalition, a grant from Lilly Endowment that will fund Exhibit Columbus, our architectural celebration, for several years. Successful recruiting continues by the Economic Development Corporation, and a new makerspace is soon to be built at our airport. Yes, 2020 has been a challenge, but I'm very optimistic about what Columbus can accomplish in the next few years, and I hope you are too. So thank you for your time and attention for this year's State of the City address.